Naruto 665. Viewer comments. You mad? As soon as I saw that, that had to be my thumbnail with Obito. Okay, announcement. What I want to do, and I want some feedback on this, is on Sundays, I want to have a general anime discussion starting about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and just about anything in anime. So if somebody has something that they really think is good, you know, then make your pitch, tell people how great it is, what's going on with it. There will be, probably going to be spoilers. That's going to be the only thing. But that's what I want to start on Sundays, okay? And I want to keep things rolling on Saturdays. Then when Kill la Kill is over, I'm not looking forward to it being over, but when it's over, okay, it's got 6 more episodes, then the Naruto stuff will probably drop down to be a little bit earlier on Saturday. Okay, so I'm looking to try to get a Saturday Naruto's, right, and then a general anime discussion on Sunday. Like I say, I want some feedback for the Sunday. The 6:30, 7, does that sound like a good start time? Central time, by the way. Everything I do is Central time. I just want to make sure you know that. And actually getting to what we're talking about, I want to start reading NW Order for Life first, even though it's being read out of order. Some of his stuff is already responses, but I want him to get out there first because he's representing Obito, which there's not a lot of people standing up for Obito. He's got a lot of good points, but I want to start there and see what you think. This is really about the viewers on this channel. So speaking of NW Order for Life. Hi Bob, let me say I completely agree with your analysis on the chapter, except for your disdain for Obito, of course. 1. I feel like Obito's speeches were a reflection of Naruto, who is also ridiculous with the speeches. This is more of an error with Kishi as far as I'm concerned. Number 2. Rin. Sweet, sweet Rin. She was a childhood crush, and the reason Obito was infatuated with her was because of the attention she gave him. You say that Obito was emotionally stunted in the beginning, but I feel that's far too excessive. Instead, I would say Obito was a loner, if I'm not mistaken. His parents were dead, right? Rin opened him up, and then he naturally reached out to Kakashi. In all aspects, he was a normal kid with social issues until Rin died. When Rin died, he lost the only good thing in his life. It's not only about losing a crush. The loss was much more psychological than romance because she was worth far more to him than a romantic interest. Actually, you could kind of parallel her to Haruka, another reference to Naruto. Let me throw this in here. Something that Kishimoto did much better, I can't say the exact chapter or whatever, was the other angle that he pushed with Rin. It wasn't just a romantic thing. It was that she believed in Obito when nobody else, except for Minato, but she believed in Obito, and she was there, okay? And she believed in his dreams to be Hokage, and she was a supporter of his efforts, She was on Team Obito, So for me, it was like, wow, the love interest is it's not completely, but it's not really the biggest factor. It's like a side issue, the way that it was related. But anyway, and that goes much stronger to your point. All right, continuing on. Number 3. Okay, so here's the deal. Obito was driven to change the world into a paradise because of Rin's death. It's already confirmed that he has no interest in meeting her again as she is. If I'm not mistaken, he says so this very chapter. The reason he wanted to use Mugen Tsukiyami is because he wanted to go back to a time where he's a kid and regain his innocence. So no, he hasn't done everything for Rin. In fact, this very chapter, again, he just remembered his promise with her and to decide to start acting on her behalf. He's done everything for his own desire to bring him back to a time where he was happy, and he rationalized it by accepting Madara's plan to be the savior of the world. That's very well put. Number 4, Obito was nobody's puppet. The plan and war was personal to him. He made the decision to embrace Madara's plan and made the decision to betray Madara, which he sure did, because he sure didn't bring him back, did he? And he didn't seem particularly happy when he saw Ito Madara. Okay, continuing on. To be a puppet, you can't have any control or will. And that sure as hell doesn't apply to Obito. Kishi has gone out of his way showing this will is stronger than anyone's. Number 5. I don't see how his mastermind status is taken away. As far as we know, Madara only taught him jutsus, gave him info, and set him after Nagato. Make no mistake that all the amazing things Toby did was Obito's planning, even if he did convince himself that Obito was dead. How funny that I spoke positively about Obito and negatively about Madara in the last live stream, and you had to leave before it started. Yeah, the timing of that was like horrible. Yeah. Now I won't be there, and you get the free reign to talk. Third video will be the showdown. Well, the good thing is we got a lot more Naruto live streams to do, a lot more. So that is we're going to be able to get caught up with everything, and that could even be something. The Sunday show, we could talk about anything. Nothing's excluded. Although I would like to hit a lot of subjects, so that's opening up another venue. Because I love doing live streams. Have I ever told you that? I love moderating them. And to finish up here, Cakes Mixer, did I do good? All right, awesome stuff. I want to read one more very short one from NW order, and then I'm going to go up top and start reading Conley Bob 9 stuff. Like it's out of order, but I want to make sure you get in there first. I want to give you that. NW order again. Well, I don't think he's poorly written. The amount of depth he has, the complexity of his badass feats, even when he wasn't Toby. All equal and amazing, well-written character. Rampage has an issue with Obito's motivation as opposed to Madara's, but I think it works. How did you do? Pretty damn good in that first response. I think you explained that Rin's situation well. Once Bob accepts that Obito's goal was not to bring Rin back to life or to have her romantically while he's an adult, maybe then he'll better appreciate Obito's character. I don't remember him saying that in the comment, but as I reread it again, I guess I'll find out. Alright, in NW order, like I said, you know what? I respect anybody that can not just stand up for something they believe in that's also not popular, but to explain it well, which you did. So you laid your case out well. All right, and I just wanted, before I read Conley Bob 9, start reading his stuff there. I just want to reiterate for anybody seeing me for the first time or doesn't know, I'll make this really short. I think Obito is a very complex character. I think that Kishimoto has done a really not good job with him. I don't understand why you have Obito, you have Itachi. Itachi is just an incredibly complex character that was done correctly. I don't just one more minute here with something else. Why do we have a character that's messed up like Sakura when we have Tsunade, who wasn't? I mean, this is what gets me with Kishimoto. It's clear he can do this. He can do complex characters. Okay, he can do characters that females that have a place, that are reliable like Tsunade, that are strong, that are able to do a lot of people don't like Tsunade, but whatever. And then compared to Sakura, it just, so I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. It's like somebody does. Well, anyway, moving on. Kishimoto is awesome, but why he does great here and not there, I don't know. Conley Bob 9. This chapter gives us important new information about the Sage and what he intended. I don't think the Board Collective and communism are the right terms, because under his system there will be no strong controlling government. By giving people power to understand one another, they are supposed to live harmoniously through free choice, and then there will be no need for any kind of government. But this turned out to not be human nature at all, and so Madara trying to do the opposite. He wants to take all the chakra for himself, the power, right? So that he can dominate all life without resistance. In this case, the Board Collective and communism is pretty good terms. If the Sage wanted to force peace on the people, he could easily have done what Madara is doing now, but he continued to believe in the free will and put his trust into future generations to get it right. Now take a guess as to how I feel about this latest chapter. Nobito is back with his ability to suction the life out of every chapter he touches. Now this guy is like a freaking cockroach in his resilience. No matter how badly you want him to go, he always crawls back. He's like a GD Kardashian. This week, see the wedding of Obito, Kardashian, and Rin. It's going to be magical. Next week, see their magical divorce. Week after that, see their brand new wedding. And we get it, Kishimoto. Enough is enough. But unfortunately, it gets a lot worse than that. We haven't begun to get to the horror. It took my second read-through to realize what a potential nightmare that this chapter might be. Is Obito still the other half of the sage? I'm not sure about that, because Madara had the Gedomazo extracted from his body. What I think might be happening is so much worse. Obito is using the power of his Kamoi to drain some of the Jubi chakra from Madara's body, just like he did to absorb the Jubi before. And this is why the Sage's staff could materialize in his hand. Now for me, this is appalling, because however Madara eventually gets defeated, I do not want this jerk to be so big a factor in it. I don't want to see that, Kishimoto. Do I think he should do something against Madara for the sake of the story development? Sure, but not like this. That being said, I think he's definitely dying soon. Now that he's established his identity as an Obito Uchiha, he and Madara are officially enemies, and he will die. I think what will probably happen is that he will use Ryan Tensei to revive Naruto. The technique will have power left to revive just one or two people, Naruto and possibly Sasuke. Then he will transfer the other Kyuubi half and all of the sage power that he took into Naruto, after which he will die. I've been saying for a couple of weeks that Naruto will get sage powers in order to fight Madara, and this could be how it happens. I was happy before that Naruto didn't seem to be getting the other half of the Kyuubi, but now that this jerk's running amok, I don't think Madara can stop it. But anyway, if Obito dies putting his hopes and dreams into Naruto, I think that would be a satisfying death for him, because he is supposed to be like that. Naruto, a Naruto gone rotten. Exactly. But please, Kishimoto, don't make him do anything like that. Now, for a couple of comments about Obito's character, and some of his addresses what NW Order discusses in the latest live stream, I will admit that Obito had some really good potential as a character. But if that potential is poorly written and poorly executed, it hardly amounts to a hill of beans. The battle with Jubito alone was like 10% fight, 90% speeches. One chapter was Let's Cry About Ran. Next chapter was Naruto Needs a Pep Talk, followed by friendship speech, rinse and repeat. There was enough friendship speeches to fill an arc in Fairy Tail, for crying out loud. I'm all for complexity in stories, but it's no wonder that people get worn out by the character. As for the Rin motivation, Obito said himself that as a kid he would put all his light and hope into her. This one single person as opposed to Naruto, who put his hope into all of his friends. But that's a good point. That's a good point. And that's a really good point. I'm just going to continue. This shows that even before his corruption, Obito was an emotionally stunted individual who was doomed to failure. What happens to you when something happens to that one person? Perhaps this sort of thing made him good for villain material, but not good final villain material, because it makes him look too love-struck and childlike to be taken seriously as the ultimate threat. In any case, you can't tell me that Obito didn't do this because of Rin. No matter what else he says, it always comes back to her, to where the guys like Marlon Brando below the balcony screaming, Rin, hey Rin, man, you get some awesome references. Now, I will pose a question. Was Obito a puppet the whole time? I'm going to say definitely yes. You see, it doesn't matter that he had his own goal. chose to betray Madara and wasn't going to revive him. Madara corrupted him to where he would commit the atrocities needed to form the Jubi, and it was all that he needed. Remember, Madara is a guy who trusts no one but himself, so he would have counted on his betrayal, and he had taken steps to ensure his resurrection regardless of Obito's will. It's the type of manipulation where a person decides that they want to do something, thinking that it's their own idea, but they're really doing what you wanted anyway because you paved the emotional roadblocks for them. Madara even said in this chapter, "I arranged your whole path," which further confirms that I've been saying. I also will say that Black Zetsu control over Obito's body is symbolic of the fact that he was Madara's puppet. And it was only when he established his identity as Obito, not Madara, that he broke free of his control. With that being said, this seriously negates one of Obito's key aspects of a villain from back when he was the Masked Man. One of the things that I liked most about him was his apparent mastermind status. The guy was playing everyone, Nagato, Sasuke, and I loved him for it. When all along he was being used by a guy who's been dead for over 16 years. Now for Madara, that's one impressive feat. But for Obito, it's a major minus as a villain because he's lost his mastermind status. I've got to read this last part again. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to read this whole paragraph again. With that being said, this seriously negates one of Obito's key aspects as a villain from back when he was the Masked Man. One of the things I liked most about him was his apparent mastermind status. The guy was playing everyone, Nagato, Sasuke, and I loved him for it. When all along he was being used by a guy who's been dead for 16 years. Now for Madara, that's one impressive feat. For Obito, it's a major minus as a villain because he's lost his mastermind status. Wow, let me just finish up the last part here. This and more in the live stream. I should also add that I'll probably have to leave around 10:30 Central Time. So if I'm supposed to profess my undying life for Madara, I should probably do it before then. Until then, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Awesome stuff, man. Your writing is just awesome. All right, now, and also I just want to, I've already expressed my viewpoint on this. It's more or less middle down the road-ish, but this is what's awesome about this channel. And if you have never left comments or anything before, this is what it's about. People on very different viewpoints able to express their ideas, right? They're just completely conflicting almost, not on all points, but and not going at each other. Okay, not going at each other. That's the key, and that is the key. Go after the objective is not to hurt each other. It's to explain these characters in your viewpoint. So this is awesome anywhere. This is the way it should be done. You guys are awesome, absolutely fantastic. And let's see. Okay, and everybody takes some hits. There is a little bit. I'm going to skip this point here. Okay, KX Mixer. LOL, I think the Borg is a bad compromise for both the Sages and Madaras. And yes, I meant to use the before Madara, since there's no darn many Madaras now. The real one needs a distinction. Peace implications, the Borg erase individuality. It doesn't sound like either of their plans intend to do that. And here I was all geared up to unleash all my Team Madara cheering while NW Order isn't around to keep me in check. But it seems you just wrote out enough of it for both of us. I think with some of the things you said, the rest I'm not too sure about. For example, taking away the credit Obito earned for his deeds as Toby is a bit harsh. I agree to an extent that Madara was manipulating him even from beyond the grave. But Obito would not have been able to do the things that he did without at least being capable. His performance as Toby was impressive to say the least, even with the Madara manipulation taken out of the account. And also, I can indeed tell you that Ren wasn't the true motivation for his actions. It sounds like a tired rhetoric, but I'll say it again. Ren was the catalyst for his ambition, not the reason. And the reason I know this was a fact is because he didn't revive her with the Ren Tensei, even though Nagato had ownership of Madara's Rinnegan for most of the series. You can't convince me that he wouldn't have found some way of tricking or forcing him into using it to revive Ren, if that was his true goal. He could have brought her back and happily lived the rest of his days out until death. He knew in his heart, though, that bringing her back wasn't a solution and it would only delay the inevitable. And what truly broke his psyche was the fact that no matter what he could do or say, Ren and everyone else he cared for would be sucked up in the endless vortex of death known as the Shinobi World. Madara's infinite Tsukiyomi, on the other hand, was a solution, and it would end all the hate forcibly by sacrificing choice. This was his true goal, and the fact that his mind always went back to Ren and just him, cherished and sometimes grieving the memory of his friend. It really shouldn't surprise anybody that Obito personalized Ren inside of his mind to the extent he did. Like NW Order for Life reminding us, the Uchiha are notorious for their bonds breaking them. Look what Azuna's death did to Madara. It defined him. His entire state of being was born from Azuna's death, just like Ren with Obito. The true difference between the two is what Madara used Ren's death as a tool to mold Obito into a weapon. If Madara hadn't been around, I suspect Obito would have turned out much the same as Madara. It actually makes Itachi as a character seem quite impressive considering his Uchiha blood and how almost everyone he cared about died before he did and still managed to stay calm and focused. LOL. I better stop before my book and author joke can be directed back at me. I'm done through for the most part. Notice that my pro-Obito argument didn't require me to bash Madara. Can't we all just spread the love? Laughing out loud. Okay, it's a good point about Ren that, look, I'm just going to repeat it. It's the execution. You can see. I mean, you can see what a lot of people are getting to. There's a lot of good stuff in a character Obito. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Okay, there's a lot of bad stuff. It's just the way it was laid out. It's like what I've already said. Anyway, I think I've already. Itachi here and Obito there. One works, one doesn't. Tsunade, Sakura. I mean, you can give your own. Kami Bob 9. Cakes Mixer, LOL. I'm becoming a bad influence. We'll give Steve a whole book to read if we're not careful. And I will enjoy reading that book. I absolutely will. Not only will I enjoy reading that book, I will enjoy talking about that book on live stream. So keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'm enjoying it. Alright. Everybody's got a little bit of... anyway, anyway. I love the creativity and the ideas and everything expressed. It's really awesome. Okay, XD well. He can just skip it if it's too long. First, I agree with you that the Borg isn't a perfect analogy for Madara either, which is why I said it's a pretty good term and not a perfect one. But still, no freedom at all under Madara's iron fist. Alright, now I have to stand up for myself. My Borg communism thing. Madara, come on. He's taking away everybody's freedom. What happens when you set up a perfect world and not everybody wants to join it? What happens, right? And then you got to get the power. And then you got to make them do what you think they should do, or that And then you have to punish people that don't conform with what this single individual or this small group of people have decided for everybody, and that's what's going on. So I was using a very loose reference, but people are pushing back on it, fine. But still, it's not free. This is coerced, and that was the point I was trying to get at. All right, continuing on. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to take any credit away from Obito regarding his actions. It was he who did the actions, some of which were actually quite badass. But he was still Madara's puppet, in a sense that he was always doing what Madara wanted him to do, regardless of what he thought to the contrary. Think of that Aizen in Bleach manipulates people by knowing how they'll react to situations. It's the same thing here, only Madara continued to do it while being dead. You see, one of the things I liked the most about the Masked Man before Kishi ruined it with the identity reveal was that he was seemingly the grand mastermind of all of it. He was playing everyone, Nagato, Sasuke, and I loved him for it. But since he was being used by a dead guy, Obito must now lose his mastermind status as a villain. This is definitely a major plus for Madara and a major minus for Obito. My love for Madara aside, I bash Obito because I genuinely dislike the character, and I think he has caused a chapter to be bad. Like this week. You're going to hear about it, LOL. The thing for me that I used to like the character a lot for years was his level-headed, calculating, funny, and even quite wise in a dark way. I had no idea that he was really like beneath the mask. Even if you ignore all the plot holes that the identity creates, which I have a huge issue with, he's the total opposite of what I thought he was. This guy's a huge baby, always whining, pining, ruled totally by his emotions, in the memory of some girl who died years ago. Give the guy a diaper. Seriously, give diapers to the whole clan. Save Itachi and Madara. And I think that stuff that I saw before he was just him pretending to be Madara, because the real Madara now has most of the traits that I liked in the fake Madara. But in any case, I feel cheated by the character, so yes, I strongly dislike the guy, worst villain in the whole series. I've also thought about him reviving Ren and Ren Tensei, but quite honestly, I have to wonder if it isn't just another plot hole in Kishimoto's part. Is there anywhere in the manga where Obito legitimately explains that he could have brought her back to life, but it wouldn't have solved the problem? Because I don't see it. Like I said, so much about the character and plot was just badly written and executed. It could be a very valid point, but I really wish that Kishi had explained this all better. As for his feelings on Ren, I would have liked to see him take the typical Uchiha curse regarding Bon's ever father to where he truly no longer cared about anyone at all, including Ren. Have her mean absolutely nothing to him now because his emotions are so shattered. That seemed to be where Kishi was talking him when he said, "I just don't care anymore." But no, the guy kept donning on Ren the whole time, and he tended to spend his time with an illusion of her, an infinite Tsukiyami. He's such a hypocrite. It's disgusting, but she was always what compelled him. We do spread the love, but it doesn't seem that we have to love every character. I'll get hyper intense in lots of my posts, but a lot of that is just for comic effect more than anything. I'm not really quite that insane, but I'm still passionate about the things that I love and hate. Awesome stuff. Cakes Mixer responds, all of my love for Obito beside, I do agree that he was poorly written as a character. And I'm not going to get into it right now, but the plot holes you mentioned are a huge problem. And even though I loved how he manipulated Madara, yes, I did in fact use the phrase manipulated Madara, into giving him the Jubi, his performance as a Jinchuriki was subpar at best. But seriously though, go back and read chapter 637, it's brilliant. And it proves that Obito's resilience isn't something to loathe, it's something to look forward to. I mean, this guy just doesn't give up. It's quite impressive, actually. Where the heck is NW Order for Life? Okay, it's your job to defend Obito, not mine. Okay, well anyway, which he did. He's set it up. Now, real quick before I start reading the rest of this, and get to a lot of other people's comments, is you guys laid out a lot of really good points. You got really in depth on it. And one of the points that was made is that the goal of Obito was to go back to that time, right? To go back into a time when before all the bad things happened to him, and to go back into some safe little pocket that he lived in before the death of Ren and before all that stuff. That's a really good angle. A lot of good points there, and a lot of awesome stuff. And I can't wait for the live stuff. Just, I love it. Trenthal manga simply explained about Obito protruding his hand into the Sage of Madara's will, or Zetsu was forged from Madara after he obtained the Rinnegan, which was his connecting force, similar to how Rikudo was referenced in this chapter. To Obito in the present world, Zetsu is the black orbs that surround Madara currently. Look at how Zetsu begins to disappear as Obito forms his staff, and it looks completed. And it had to be Obito, because he was the last, most recent half-sage, LOL. This fight had to be balanced, even if one temporarily, because of the main stars are incapacitated. Because brings me to say how I'm pissed because Sasuke was not hinted at in this chapter, and I was looking for the subline reference to him and his condition, but it seems that he isn't saved by whomever stands over him, which I'm sure he will, because when I see Obito will sacrifice himself, and maybe Madara as well, because I'm sure Zetsu is another key, reviving Naruto and maybe Sasuke. I believe he plays the most important role in the Chiha vengeance. He is the Avenger. I hope Orochimaru does eventually steal his body. Makes for a compelling segue beginning to Orochimaru's arc. Thanks for sharing this and good review, Rampage. I really appreciate that, and I'm in like mind. I can't wait for Orochimaru to possess his body. It's going to be awesome if that happens. I really do hope it happens. Let's see, Nebi Order for Life. It was Kamui. Notice Obito's Sharingan is 3-tone when talking to Madara at first, and then after sticking his hand inside him, you can clearly see the Mangekyo Sharingan activate. Obito is probably going to extract the Kyuubi and give it to Naruto, or he could just revive him with Ren Tensei, and then Naruto revives, and he could come back to save the 6 powers power up. There's a lot of possibilities there. I really appreciate everyone's efforts. Okay, Nexus Legend 9. Obito might be able to pull out some of the tailed beasts from Madara, since he has his hands inside him, and for whatever reason Madara was unable to stop him from doing that, or didn't care. Which would mean that Madara is still overpowered and is playing with Obito. It's a good chapter, but I don't understand why Kishi is delaying reviving Naruto. He is supposed to be technically dead and waiting. Yeah, he's been on the edge of death for a while now, hasn't he? And having taught no jutsu isn't helping him. I think that unless the Kyuubi is put back into Naruto within the next 2 chapters, it's highly probable Naruto will die. Obito might still have a role to play since he has the Rinnegan and has had a change of heart. He might decide to do a Nagato and revive Naruto before the end. Shadow Person still bugs me. I really want to know who that is. Great job, Steve, as always. Really appreciate that. Yeah, that's getting drug out. I mean, if we don't get, we need a hint. We need like a little. I mean, if he's gonna play coy with us, right, Kishi, with who it is, give us like another hint or two, something to play around with, not just like, nothing really. I mean, give us something, a little more for us to talk about. That'd be a much better way to go about it, in my opinion. Then again, I've never wrote, a manga, so Kishi's got me there. All right, appreciate your comments. Everybody's doing awesome, as they do every week, which is amazing. XX Avenger, I might make it, but this is talking about the live, but I might have to leave early, and we sort of can't wait for the defend my prediction. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, look, it's all voluntary. We're not getting, so it's not a big deal. I hope you can make it, and I ask for everyone's patience in these live streams, especially if you're new, because for the people that have been there for them, it takes a while to kind of work things out. And for the people on the phones, it's a lot of there's issues getting started, and there's a lot of stuff. And like I say, I'm trying to get it worked out to where you can just have a phone number to call in, so it's not a video conference. It's an audio. Just you can hear people and they can communicate. Trying to get that worked out. Anyway, I've spent a lot of time on that this week too. Let me tell you, Michael Gethman. Just when I thought this chapter was going to be awesome, Kakashi shows up and scares the Black Zetsu back to Obito. Obito better not have stabbed my Madara with his hand. Madara needs to get that eye back, and I don't like Obito no jitsing again. I like Madara's combat with Kakashi Minato. How doesn't Madara have control over his own will through Black Zetsu? Did Kishimoto just make Madara less powerful? I hope not. The caption at the end of the chapter said that Obito isn't lost anymore. Did anybody want Obito to be found again after his artful attempt at being evil? Go away, Obito. Oh. NW Order for Life responds, stay with us for as long as you can, Obito. You make this manga worth reading. Oh, man. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Hold on. There's a... Fail Dara has failed again. You're slamming me, Dara. Fail Dara. Oh, boy. Mr. Marcus. I can't wait to talk to you guys again. It's so much fun. Mr. Marcus. Hey, and you got an invite, and eventually we hope we get everything squared away and you get in there too, Mr. Marcus, because you've been making viewer comments a long time here. Really want to get there and listen to you, and we can all get into the live chat, which is phenomenal. Reading your comment now. Now this chapter wasn't the greatest, but it's still confusing. Obito should be dead by now. Madara talking about the connection people had back then due to their chakra, and Naruto is still not alive, and Minato has no arms at all. What a way for a year to go out, and I'm still upset like you are, Steve, about the thing that with Ren. I just don't get it. It's still not really clear what went on. Hopefully next chapter Kishimoto makes things a little more clear. And alright, we got some back and forth here. Okay, NW Order for it. What's confusing? Black Zetsu is keeping him alive, but Obito will is stronger than anyone, so that's why he's in control. Also, Kobe's half might have re-energized Obito further. Mr. Marcus. Kishimoto is really making me mad, though. He made Minato like this great hero, and then he turns around and makes him look like the worst Hokage and a weak ninja, Edo man with has no arms. Now, why, Kishi, why? Make your mind up already. An NW Order. We get some agreement here. I agree with you about Minato. Just disappointing how he's going out, aside from Obito. Minato has been one of my favorite characters. Hopefully, Kishi has him pull out another feat before he fades away and gives his son a final goodbye. I don't know. I think I think the Edos are pretty much... It looks like they're not going to play a big role right now. Instead of just getting rid of them, it looks like they're just tearing them down, pinning them down with chakra rods. And Mr. Marcus responds, me too. He's my favorite besides Pain and Kakashi, but Kishi sure knows how to punk us, LOL. Yes, he does. Kishi's a genius. There's a lot of stuff I've seen in this manga that I just love. I've had so much fun with in the manga in general, but man, like I say, there's characters he's just like, why? Why is it he's playing it out this way? Anyway, awesome comments, everybody. And let's see. Hey, Steve, I should be able to make it. 8:30 is like 10:30 here in Korea. Looking forward to a great discussion. Okay, and I can't remember. It's been a long time. Let's see. Yeah, I was actually stationed in Korea, in Kunsan, Korea, back in 1980. What was it? 87 to 88. I believe that was right. Yeah, something like that. 87 to 88. I was actually there in the Air Force. Long time ago. Wow, I am an old guy. And then, yeah, and I really am looking forward to seeing you in there. Okay, let's see. Elijah Lawson. Obito, we need to talk. When I read your comment for the first... there's always different... You can go back and pick up things. We all know when you read or watch something again. But when someone else hits something at an angle, right? Gets a hook in it at an angle, and then they explain it to you, it can really change the way you look at it. So let me read the comment here. Obito, we need to talk. What am I to you, Madara? I closed the window when I read that. So Obito was in love with Madara too. This chapter just kept getting worse and worse, and all the Rin panels, good lord. Also, Minato could use nature chakra. Why did he die so easily in the first place? This chapter raised too many flags for plot holes for me. LOL. Yeah, the Sage Mode thing with Minato, that was the thing that happened. But I mean, it's like pillow talk, isn't it? We need to talk. What am I to you, Madara? It's like, oh, you're important to me, and oh my god. And then that to me was what made it even worse. Was Madara actually responding? And it's like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Alright, in NW order. That's weak, man. I agree that Obito and Madara suddenly caring for each other felt strange. And thrown in there, but how can you possibly relate in love to this situation? You're not acting any better. Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, what? Okay, that's NW order. I think in this case, it does sound weird. It sounds weird. You've admitted it sounds weird, so we'll move on from there. And Elijah, Lawson response. I was joking around, but you got to admit, Obito sounds like he was a girl trying to break up with Madara. I mean, come on. We need to talk. What am I to you? Kishimoto was shipping Obito and Madara when no one else would. LOL. And you know what? Another thing that makes this worse was the whole Madara Hashirama thing was a little, And look, I mean, things are the way they are, whatever. But what is it about Madara that gets like the first Hokage, Hashirama, and then Obito? They all of a sudden turn into. It gets a little different. So, it did sound funny, like I say. God, like God. Yes, you're Obito Uchiha, and now you're gonna die. Seriously, this guy going to die soon and about time. Yay. He'll do something to help the Alliance before he goes. More later. For now, I won't be able to make Kill a Kill, and if episode is anything like last week's, that will be most unfortunate, but I should be there for Naruto, and I'll try to get there before the live stream starts. And yeah, it was that big. But like I say, that's another thing that we can do on Sundays. Is we can, if the Sundays are good for people, like say 6:30 Central, 7 o'clock Central, and we can catch up. We can have people that maybe Saturdays aren't good, or they have weddings or whatever, and then they can come in on Sunday, and we can fill in there and then talk about whatever, just whatever other kind of anime. I'd really look forward to that. That'd be a good filler. I like what I like in the live streams, as you've seen, it takes a lot of time, but I like the idea that everyone knows, because it was so for the first one was just crazy. It was enjoyable, but once people can relax a little bit and go, oh, okay, I'm going to eventually be able to express myself, and we'll be able to get enough time, right? And I try to go, does anybody else have anything before we move on? So, you know what I'm saying? I want us to get all this. But it's been a real surprise to me. I'm going to finish this up, this viewer comment. I just want to talk about the live stream for a moment. Is how much the other stuff beyond what we're talking about was really interested in, how much people had bottled up to do that too. So that's why I want to do a Sunday show. I'd really like some response from that if you guys are really interested in doing that. I think that could be fun. Or if we have to change the time around a little bit on Sunday, I'm open to do that. All right, and let's see. XX Avenger Legend. How am I supposed to get an invite? Talking about the live stream again. Is you can go to on the well, you should be having invites at different places. Maybe email this and that, but you should be able to absolutely go to the video on my Google Plus page, and I guess it'll be on yours. And you can go in there and you'll see the time kicking down if you click on it. Well, there should be an invite thing when the event actually happens. It should be able to kick in there and accept your invite. And that's, from my understanding, that's how you can do that. Okay, and once again, patience, everybody. We'll get it worked out. And our Kill la Kill and Naruto and general discussions that we've done since 15, we've just done 19, so we've done, wow. So we've done 3 of them so far, and we've gotten pretty good at it. So just be patient. We'll get it worked out. And people with the phone stuff, I'm still trying to work that out. So hopefully we can get something you just call in and make your life much simpler. And let's see. And Mr. Marcus, yeah, I did get it, Steve. Okay, responding about your and added you to my Google Hangout for sure. I really want to be a part of this, but I'm a different time zone. Eastern time is where I'm at, so send a other invite. I'll respond. Thanks. Okay, I think you got the thing. And look, if we start the event, specifically some of the people, once again with phones, I've had to send invites back again. But I think you'll find that we'll get everything squared away. Eastern, you guys are just an hour ahead of us. Okay, that's the way it works. So if I say 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, because you guys are an hour and a half. So you don't have too big a time deal. It's the guys in the West Coast that usually get kind of messed over by the time stuff, because they're, you're ahead and they're more behind. So, but yeah. All right, let's see. XX Avenger. Disappointing chapter. Wanted to see my prediction come true so I can brag about it in the Hangout, but oh well. Obito finally gets closure and realizes his true self. I think he will use the power he took from Madara to save Naruto. This main issue with this chapter is the panels with Ren. I'm getting sick and tired of Ren being shoved down my throat. Obito, just can you get past it? Also, the part with Madara explaining about how chakra can be spread came to me as very cheesy and cliche. Armin Gregorian. Now appreciate the comments. Now the only way to save Naruto is by someone sacrificing himself. Minato has no hands to silly KB Naruto. And as far as I know, this is only that could do in the battlefield. I hope Sakura does it. Simul Crawl. I think maybe it's possible that Kishimoto can introduce a new character to the next chapter. Probably the person that is in front of Sasuke. Kishimoto's twin brother has drawn a manga called 666, so I assume that he can connect with it with the next chapter and bring something new. I also think it's going to be a new character that we haven't seen anymore. But then again, I'm talking about the Uchiha Elder, the original Uchiha, son of the Sage of the Sixth Path. That's who I'm banking on. But safe bet's Kabuto. But anyway, we'll see. Most likely, but I still like something new. I want to see Kishimoto really do something with that, and we'll see. I appreciate everyone's comments. Do a great job, Mr. Emerald. I think Obito will use Rin Tensei and Naruto, or do something to bring back Naruto's life. Probably Naruto and Sasuke, but then again, maybe the other person's there to do that, right? I am Jet. Madara 65. What can I say? Rampage. I wish to complain about this chapter. I thought that Obito had quit living. Obito had passed on. Obito was thought to be no more. He has not ceased to be. Obito has not expired. Gone to meet his maker. Obito should be stiff, bereft of life. He ought to be resting in peace. If Black Zetsu hadn't nailed his body onto Obito's formerly lifeless husk, he'd be pushing up daisies. His metabolism processes should have ended becoming history. Obito was off the twig. Obito's not kicked the bucket. Obito's not shuffled off his mortal coil, run down the curtain, and join the bleeding choir invisible. Monty Python stuff's amazing. That parrot sketch never gets old. Anyway, continuing on. Obito is no longer an ex-person. How can he, who's leaning on a doorstep of eternity, turn around and stab Madara, Sage Uchiha, right after he comboed the Flying God, Thunder God, and used a Rasengan on Kakashi? Am I an infinite Tsukiyama? What about the ballad of Sasuke and Oro? I enjoyed the chapter and further hinting that with his chakra molding, Naruto is actually closest to Sage of Sixth Path. Now, if he can overcome death, we have to wait and see. And what if he doesn't come back? All right, really do appreciate that. I am Jet. And we got a few more comments left here, the small ones. Okay. Okay, Legend of Games. Rampage, how can I get Google Hangout on iPhone? I have a Hangout app, but I don't think I can webcam. And then, and like I say, I've never used the web phone. My brother-in-law does it all the time, and he's explained a few things on there. And he doesn't use an iPhone anymore. He's got like a Droid or something, and like the Droid notebook or something like that. But anyway, so I'm not that helpful with it. But like I've mentioned before, I'm trying to get this program, and I think it might be functional to where I can simply give you a number and a PIN number, and you can call in, so you don't have to worry about your battery life, and because it really kills the battery, and using up your download gigs, which it does, because the video streaming back and forth is pretty intense. So I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to help people out with the phone stuff. So that's why I don't have a lot for you on that, but hopefully it'll just be simple. Like I say, think how simple it would be. Just a phone number and a PIN number, and you're in. You can talk and hear. All right. In Pascal, the way that Obito proves the Hokage, meaning how he fooled Madara, was totally awesome. And he changed the stuff from Black Zetsu he created. All right, awesome stuff. Everybody's been great in this. How long was this? Oh, wow. This actually went over I thought it would be about 45 minutes, so we went well over. And I've actually covered pretty much everything. Like I say, remind again, I would like some feedback on the Sunday general anime discussion live stream stuff. I really want to do that. I would like, if people are going to be available, and some time issues. Like I said, I'm looking at 6:30, 7 o'clock start time, end time, whenever. So I really like some feedback on that. All right, that's going to be it. You guys are just awesome in your comments. And live stream is the way this channel's going. Okay, that's where we're going. Oh, also one other thing. I've watched, I guess I'm about on episode 12 of Hunter x Hunter, and I'm absolutely loving it. I am absolutely loving Hunter x Hunter so far. I can already see the pacing, how the writer is throwing stuff out. I like the characters. I like some of the dark humor. You have characters in here that aren't. You have mixtures and you have good people, but even the good people have some bad in them. And you have some characters that so far, I know it's really early in the series, they don't seem too good. So I'm enjoying it. I like the tone of it. I really like Hunter x Hunter a lot. And I have to be honest, if this thing just keeps getting better, like it is, I could end up starting to cover at Hunter x Hunter. And I know I've had a lot of people. I've had people consistently for about a year and a half, I think, telling me about Hunter x Hunter, and I'm really liking it. All right, maybe we can close this out. If you think I can talk here, the live streams. I mean, our last one was 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 30 seconds. And I was pumped when I got out of there. And I was tired. I was running on minimal sleep, and it was just amazing. Anybody can be an anime fan. You can always subscribe. You can always unsubscribe. You can do anything you want to. Until next time, take care.